Hello there, my expansive, truth-seeking Sagittarius spirits, and welcome back to Cosmic Treasure. Come closer for a moment and take a deep, centering breath with me. I have a feeling you're here today because you've sensed it, haven't you? That subtle restlessness in your soul. It's not a loud alarm, oh no, it's far more profound than that. It's a quiet hum of confinement, a shadow that flickers at the edge of your boundless horizon, a feeling that something in your sacred quest for truth is off. You may have told yourself you're just being overly idealistic, that you're too independent for your own good. But I am here to tell you today, with all the insight in my heart, you are not being irrational, you are not paranoid. That profound feeling doesn't come from a place of fear. It comes from your magnificent inner compass, your soul's own guidance system, telling you that something you once believed was harmless is in fact subtly limiting you with an energy that does not serve your highest expansion. In our journey together today, we won't be speaking of a literal boundary next door, but of something far more potent. We're going to be exploring the boundary as a powerful metaphor for a silent, confining energy that has crept too close to your spirit, an influence you have perhaps overlooked in your immense capacity for optimism, the pursuit of higher ideals. This energy may feel disconnected from your daily adventures, but believe me, it has been subtly affecting your fifth chakra, the sacred center of truth, expression, and authentic freedom. If this resonates, if you have ever felt your spirit instinctively resist or question someone's narrative for reasons you couldn't quite name, then stay with me, because by the end of our time together, you will not only understand this dynamic, but you will hold the cosmic keys to reclaim the boundless expanse of your energetic space, the sovereign truth and freedom you have been yearning to embody once more. If you are ready to see the truth that has been whispering to you, let me know in the comments below by typing, "I am ready to reclaim my freedom." And of course, if you haven't already joined our beautiful family here at Cosmic Treasure, now is the perfect moment. Press that subscribe button and ring the notification bell, so you never miss these deep dives into the soul's journey that we create just for you. Now let us begin. Let us step into that sacred space of knowing, where you will finally see with crystal clarity what your powerful intuition has been telling you all along. Can you feel it, dear Sagittarius? It's an energy, a glance, a word you can't quite put into words, but your body, oh, your body knows. It reacts long before your brilliant mind has a chance to analyze it. It's not a loud, overt fear. It is a quiet, profound resistance. It's as light as a whisper on the wind, but it's enough to send a shiver of knowing right through your soul. There is a presence near you so close that you've rationalized it. You've told yourself, "I have nothing to fear, I can handle it." You've offered a curious ear when they spoke. You've nodded with understanding, believing that your own integrity is a shield against all harm. And in so many ways it is. But did you know, beautiful soul, that sometimes your light, your incredible, radiant, truth-seeking light, is the very thing that makes others feel their own shadows? And in that discomfort, they may unconsciously seek to dull your glow just to feel a moment of ease. This isn't about an outright enemy brandishing a sword, oh no. The dynamic is far more subtle, and that is why it has been so easy to miss. They only have to be there, a quiet observer in your life, slowly and silently reigning in your precious spirit. Think of it like an invisible tether, barely noticeable, that seems to shorten your stride after every encounter, leaving you feeling less expansive, a little more grounded than you prefer. You, of all the souls in the zodiac, understand the quest for truth. You know that energy is the original language of the universe. You don't need outright lies or overt control to feel confined. Just one subtle manipulation of facts, one veiled agenda, and your powerful spirit can feel its wings clipped. I want you to hear this loud and clear. You are not imagining things. You are not too much or too restless. You are not naive. You are profoundly attuned. You are deeply perceptive. You carry within you the soul of the boundless sky, where even the smallest cloud casts a shadow on the furthest horizon. There is someone, perhaps a mentor, a fellow traveler, a familiar voice in your intellectual circles, who is closer to you than you realize, and they did not enter your orbit with an energy of pure, shared wisdom. They came wrapped in something else, something disguised as curiosity, as intellectual camaraderie. It is a hunger to know your insights, to understand how you explore what you believe, who you seek, not because they wish to expand with you, but because they cannot fathom how you possess a clarity of vision they cannot seem to find for themselves. They don't slander you openly, they don't oppose your plans directly, they don't show up in the ways you'd expect an adversary to, but they are always there. Have you noticed? Right at the moment you are about to embark on a new quest, share a profound insight or speak your truth, they appear. And in that moment, the very energy in the space shifts. You feel a sudden dulling of your enthusiasm, a fog of confusion descends, and your conviction wavers. It's as if a tiny, vital piece of your spirit was gently plucked away. The great spiritual teachers have always understood this. The Buddha spoke of the mind as the deepest realm, reminding us that not all destruction comes from overt action. Some energies conquer simply by being present. And in the Christian tradition, the book of Ephesians wisely states that our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against unseen forces, the spiritual energies in the unseen realms. We walk through this world wanting to believe in the goodness of all people, and that is a beautiful testament to your heart, Sagittarius. But not every inspiring face holds a pure intention. Some draw near to you like a fellow traveler, but in reality their energy is seeking out your vulnerabilities. They are not looking for ways to expand you, but for the energetic cracks they can slip into. Not to learn from you, but to control your narrative. Not to walk beside you as an equal, but to subtly direct the course of your life. Dear Sagittarius, you do not need to build higher walls or withdraw into your shell completely to protect yourself. You simply need to begin listening truly deeply, listening to the profound wisdom of your own soul again. It has been sending you signals all along. Do you remember that time you stood next to them and your heart began to race for no logical reason? Or that moment you shared a piece of your vision, something deeply personal, and immediately afterward felt a wave of regret, as if you had just compromised a sacred part of yourself? Do you recall the times they said, "I am so happy for you," but their eyes held no light, no genuine warmth? All of those moments were bells ringing in the temple of your soul. Your body and spirit begging you to turn your attention inward. You likely dismissed it. You probably told yourself, maybe I'm being overly suspicious or I'm just being too idealistic. But the truth, my beautiful friend, is that you are not too idealistic. You have been too generous with your optimism, and your curious, adventurous heart has made you dismiss the very signals you were meant to trust from the very beginning. Take a moment with me now. Close your eyes if you feel comfortable. Take a slow, deep breath in and release it. Recall the last time you were near someone, and afterward you felt inexplicably dulled. You couldn't think clearly, or your spirit felt heavy, or your mind was filled with a static of doubt. Nothing was obviously wrong, but your entire being knew it just didn't feel right. That feeling is not a product of your imagination. It is a message from your intuition, the sacred oracle gifted to you by the universe. Not everyone who seeks to join your journey deserves a seat at your campfire of truth. Honesty does not mean your energetic boundaries must be non-existent. Forgiveness does not mean you must allow a confining presence to obscure your horizons. There are people you must forgive from a distance in order to release them, not to keep them entwined in your energy. If there is someone in your life who makes you feel like you constantly have to be on, always performing enthusiasm, always hiding your true exhaustion or your brilliant light, I invite you to acknowledge it now. Share it in the comments if you feel called, not as a complaint, but as a sacred act of cleansing your own energy field. Write it down to give it a voice. Because, my dear Sagittarius, if you don't honor these feelings soon, your magnificent light will continue to be eroded not by them, but by your own loving refusal to listen to the truth of your own soul. And you know what? In the next part of our journey, we are going to dive even deeper into the subtle signs your soul has been sending you, the ones you may have ignored. Don't go anywhere, because what is coming next may just be the profound confirmation you have been seeking for years. Even without a shred of physical evidence, you have always known it. It's not something you can prove in a court of law, but it's a truth that lives in your bones. You know it not through their words, but through the sudden dulling in the air the moment they appear. Not through their actions, but through a strange, discordant frequency that makes your body instinctively want to close itself off to shield your heart. You know, and yet you still offered your curiosity, you still nodded, you still offered them your warmth, you still opened the door to your life, all the while pretending you couldn't hear the powerful whisper of your soul, saying, "Be careful, be aware." My dear Sagittarius, you have spent so much of your life being the inspiring one, the one who provides perspective, the one who can hold space for others' questions. But in that process, have you sometimes kept the peace for others even when it shattered your own? You chose politeness over setting a firm, energetic boundary. You chose to give the benefit of the doubt instead of asking the direct, penetrating questions that are your birthright. You chose optimism even when your intuition was sounding a deafening alarm that something was profoundly out of alignment. And that is what makes your soul so incredibly beautiful, and it is also what has caused you so much hidden pain. Because you, magnificent Sagittarius, don't need a private investigator to uncover the truth. You don't need a confession from another to confirm what you have been feeling in the very marrow of your being for so long. You do not need proof when your own energy field is the most reliable lie detector in existence. You felt the shift in the way they looked at you. You felt your own radiant light dim just a little every time they entered the room. You have caught yourself, haven't you? Subtly changing your tone, your words, your very essence, just so they wouldn't feel uncomfortable or threatened by your gentle power. You did it unconsciously, a lifetime of adapting to make others feel at ease. But your soul took note of it all. You are not weak. In fact, you are so incredibly powerful that you have learned to dim your own light so that others wouldn't feel insecure in your presence. But here is a profound truth I want you to absorb into every cell of your being. Some people don't want to grow into their own light. They simply want to stand near yours and absorb the warmth and energy they cannot or will not generate for themselves. And listen closely, my love, your light does not need to be dimmed for anyone. True, authentic light doesn't just illuminate, it reveals. It exposes the intentions that are hidden in the shadows. The Buddha wisely taught that the mind is the root of all things and that lies cannot mask the energy of intention. And in the Bible, there's a verse in the book of Daniel that has awakened so many souls. He reveals deep and hidden things. He knows what lies in darkness, and light dwells with him. It was never that you didn't have enough proof. It's that you hadn't yet given yourself permission to fully trust the undeniable feeling within you. It was never that you lacked reason. It's that your heart is so deep and so capable of seeing the wounded child in others that you couldn't believe someone would seek to harm you without a clear cause. But sometimes, Sagittarius, the very strength and composure you are so proud of, can become a wall that keeps your own inner knowing at bay. Sometimes what we call being kind is actually a way we delay acknowledging the truth, and in doing so we give our power away to those who do not deserve it. You used to smile, but inside your spirit trembled. You used to play the gracious host, but within you were curling inward, protecting your energy. You once opened your heart with incredible generosity, and then silently blamed yourself for being too trusting when it was taken for granted. But you were never wrong to be loving. You simply loved with a heart that wore no armor. And now is the time to learn to listen to that inner whisper, not with fear, but with unwavering trust, because your soul doesn't need a logical reason to warn you. It only needs you to trust it enough to act on its wisdom. Take another deep breath with me, and as you exhale, recall the last time you were near someone, and your intuition spoke loud and clear. You already know. Your shoulders tensed, your heart did a strange little flutter, your gaze shifted away as if you were afraid that what you were sensing was actually true. Yet you kept smiling. If the energetic space between you and them could speak, how many times would it recall you pretending that everything was fine? How many times did you feel that internal knock, that warning, but you chose silence instead? How many times, my beautiful soul, did you place their emotional comfort above your own spiritual peace? No one else saw that inner battle, but the universe did. Your guides did, and most importantly, you did. If your heart still holds even one memory of a moment when your soul spoke to you, through a feeling, through a silence, through a sudden chill, I invite you to honor it now. Write it down in a journal or even in the comments, not to relive any pain, but to whisper gently to your inner self. You were never blind. You simply loved so deeply that you chose grace over suspicion. Write it down as a sacred vow to yourself that your intuition was right all along, and from this day forward, you no longer need to apologize for feeling what others could not see, because sometimes the most dangerous energy isn't overt, a deception, but the subtle, gentle tones that make you doubt the truth of your own magnificent soul. And if you have ever lived in that energetic fog where you felt you had to shrink yourself just to keep someone in your life, then the next part of our journey will bring you even more profound clarity. There are people, Sagittarius, who once called you their safe harbor, their confidant, their comfort. They praised your incredible empathy, your unwavering loyalty, your profound ability to listen without judgment. They embraced you as if you were the only safe harbor in their stormy life. They asked for your advice, they checked on you, they cared for you just enough to make you believe that you truly mattered, that you were an irreplaceable cornerstone of their world. But then one day something shifted. You stopped being so readily available. You started saying no. You erected a beautiful, healthy boundary, or perhaps you simply began to live more truthfully, expressing your own needs, your own emotions, your own authentic self. And you saw it, didn't you? Everything changed. Suddenly their gentleness had an edge, their care felt conditional. In fact, a chilling silence grew between you, as if you were the one at fault for no longer playing the role they had assigned to you. My dear Sagittarius, there is a kind of connection that is so hard to name because it doesn't hurt you in obvious ways. It isn't violent or cold or clearly controlling. But what it does is cause you to lose yourself piece by tiny piece. It happens softly, smoothly, like a haunting lullaby that sings you to sleep inside a persona where you must always be the nurturing one, always the understanding one, always the one who endures for the sake of the connection. They don't control you by raising their voice. They control you by needing you. They control you by saying things drenched in emotional weight like, "If I didn't have you, I don't know what I would do," or "You're the only one who truly understands me." It sounds so sincere, doesn't it? But let's be honest with ourselves now. After hearing those words, how many times did you brace yourself taking on a burden that wasn't yours, just so they wouldn't be disappointed? How many times did you swallow your own tears, your own fatigue, your own needs, just so you wouldn't disrupt what they called a special connection? You thought it was love. You thought it was a sacred bond. You thought you were chosen. But the truth is, my beautiful friend, you are being held in a gilded cage, a prison lined with the velvet of tenderness. You once felt your worth was tied to your ability to help them, to heal them, to hold their world together. You felt worthy as long as you put your own feelings on the back burner, as long as you didn't make them sad, as long as you didn't change from the person they needed you to be. You were once a brilliant, blazing sun, but they only wanted you to shine on their terms. They wanted your light when they were cold, and they needed you to quietly dim yourself when they no longer required your warmth. You, Sagittarius, are the one who sees into the very soul of others. You feel their pain. You see the wounds behind their masks. You know they have suffered, and so you stayed. You loved with a compassion that is breathtaking. You gave from the deepest well of your soul. You were there for them even when it meant abandoning yourself to do so. But hear this now, and let it echo in the chambers of your heart. True love is not a place where you trade your essence for acceptance. True love does not require you to shrink so that another person can feel big. True love should never, ever make you afraid to be your most powerful, authentic self. If someone only stays in your life when you are compliant, when you agree with them, when you serve their needs, then they do not love you. They love the version of you that is useful to them, the version that does not resist, the version that still holds on to the hope of maybe they didn't mean to hurt me. How many times have you silenced your powerful inner voice just to maintain a connection that deep down you already knew had lost its life force? How many times did you tell yourself, "But they are good to me," while crying silently in the dark because you knew they were only kind when you were giving them exactly what they wanted? Sagittarius, you were not born to be a container for the unprocessed emotions of others. You are not responsible for preserving connections that have become energetically parasitic. You do not have to prove your love by enduring pain. And if you are still uncertain, remember the ancient wisdom the Buddha taught. Do not cling to what is deceptive. And the Bible powerfully declares in Psalm 10:17, "No one who practices deceit will dwell in my house." True gentleness does not drain you, it replenishes you. Genuine care does not require you to sacrifice your truth for the sake of keeping the peace. Divine love does not ask you to stay silent to preserve someone else's comfort. And if you ever loved someone so deeply that you lost yourself in the process, that was not love. It was a form of control wrapped in sweetness, disguised in teary eyes, and sustained by making you feel guilty or selfish if you ever dared to walk away. But the truth does not need you to sacrifice yourself to prove its validity. The truth only needs you to listen. And you, the one who has been silent for far too long, you are the only one who can lead yourself out of that emotional cage. Perhaps you've told yourself, but we had good moments too. Yes, of course you did. All emotional and energetic manipulators must be just good enough, just charming enough, so that you won't notice what is truly happening beneath the surface. But look again with your clear Sagittarius vision. Can you breathe freely when you are near them? Can you be your complete self with all your wounds, your softness, your dreams, and your incredible power without being judged or subtly corrected? Or are you always tensing up, preparing, managing their emotions to keep them happy, Sagittarius? If you cannot breathe beside someone, that is not love. That is energetic manipulation. It is a transaction, and you no longer need to keep paying for that connection with the currency of your soul. Stop for a moment. Place your hand over your heart, feel its steady rhythm, and ask it. Who was the person I once loved so deeply, but now I cannot seem to breathe freely when I am near them? The answer will come gently, silently, clearly, because your soul has known for a very long time. It is just that today, right now, you are finally ready to hear it. Have you ever been manipulated by tenderness? Write down for your eyes only the name of someone who once made you doubt yourself, not to condemn them, but to release yourself from their energetic hold. Because you no longer need sweet words to feel loved. You no longer need someone else to validate your worth, because you have always been worthy long before anyone came along and made you forget that fundamental truth. And if you're asking yourself, why is all of this happening now? Why are the people I trusted changing so suddenly? Then perhaps it is not that they have changed. Perhaps it is that the light within you has finally grown so bright, so undeniable, that all the masks around you have no choice but to fall. When a soul enters a period of profound transformation, the universe doesn't require you to push anyone away. It simply allows everything that no longer resonates with your new higher frequency to gently fade on its own. No arguments are needed, no anger is required, because the magnificent light you are becoming no longer offers a sanctuary for anything that is false. And as the universe begins this sacred cleansing, the truth will step forward all on its own. You don't even need to expose it. The universe, my dear Sagittarius, does not need weapons to win a battle, and the truth does not need to shout to be heard. It only needs the right moment. A blink, a pause, a single sacred instant where you no longer feel the need to manage to please or to fear. And in that instant, the entire curtain drops. There are things you have known in the depths of your being for a long, long time, but you waited. You waited for a clearer sign, for a confession for them to change, or at the very least to offer one sincere apology. You waited like a loyal keeper at the gate of hope, even though your soul already knew that what you were waiting for wasn't love. It was a repetition of a painful cycle. And then one day there was simply no reason left to deny it, nothing left to hold on to. You stood there in your quiet power without screaming, without exposing, without arguing. You simply looked. And you saw. You saw that they could no longer meet your gaze. They avoided your eyes as if they knew on a soul level that you had finally seen everything. You used to think you needed proof to justify walking away, but the universe doesn't send proof in neat little packages. It sends clarity. It sends a profound energetic shift that cannot be denied. It sends a moment where your soul whispers with unshakable certainty, "This is enough." The one who used to praise you, hold you, and call you special is no longer there, not because they are busy, but because they can no longer control you. You no longer feel a pang in your chest at the sound of their voice. Your heart no longer aches when you see them happy with someone else, because you, my beautiful healer of your own heart, have finally withdrawn your precious energy from that toxic spiral. You once chose silence, not because you were blind, but because your loving heart believed. If I just love them enough, they will change. You compromised your own feelings, afraid you were being too sensitive, afraid you were overthinking. You forced yourself to keep the peace, to avoid hurting them, to protect what you called a relationship. But truth does not need you to strain. Truth only needs you to stop trying to hold together what is meant to fall apart. And the miracle is this: when you stop, the truth arrives on its own. No words are needed, no drama is necessary. The one you trusted reveals their true face, not because you forced it, but because your own frequency has risen to a level where their mask can no longer adhere. You are stepping out now as someone who no longer needs to be vindicated, who no longer needs to testify, who no longer needs to prove anything to anyone, because the brilliant light radiating from within you is the only answer required. As the Bible says, nothing is hidden that will not be revealed, and in the original Buddhist teachings, karma manifests not through words but through frequency. This means you do not have to fight anyone. You simply have to choose in every moment to live in your own authentic truth. Truth never harms you, Sagittarius. It is the denial of truth that robs you of your sleep, your peace, and your very self. And if anyone leaves your life, gets hurt, or condemns you as you begin to live more truthfully, know that they were already living in opposition to your soul's evolution long ago. They are not afraid of your anger. They have seen that before. They are terrified of your clarity. They are afraid that you no longer need them to feel worthy. They are afraid that you now stand tall in your own power and no longer kneel to maintain a connection. The truth is, they didn't need you to be joyful. They needed you to be obedient. They didn't need you to be happy. They needed you to be dependent. They didn't need you to be honest. They needed you to keep pretending. But do you know something magnificent? Your soul was not born to be the peacemaker for other people's misplaced pieces. Your soul was not sent to this earth to be so good that it forgets its own sacred being. You do not need anyone's permission or understanding to live in your truth, because light never needs validation. It only needs to be turned on. And today, you turned it on. Slowly, silently, without any applause. You are no longer waiting for an apology. You are no longer chasing a sense of fairness. You are no longer needing a confession from those who knew the truth and stayed silent. You are simply walking forward with the undeniable posture of a soul who knows its own infinite worth. And right now, you might feel a sense of emptiness, but this is not loss, my love. This is sacred space. This is the fertile ground where the universe is preparing to pour something new, something true, something magnificent into your life. No one truly left you. They simply could not remain in the radiant light you have just ignited. If you truly commit to living in your soul's truth, who is the first person who would naturally disappear from your life? That answer right there is a gift called liberation. You don't need to fight anyone. You only need to stop fighting yourself. You don't need to clarify everything to them. You only need clarity within your own heart. You don't need to speak out or expose them. You only need to quietly, gracefully, and completely withdraw your energy from any space that no longer feels like home. If you feel ready, I want you to write this down in your journal, or even declare it in the comments as a seal upon your healing energy. I am ready to live in my truth. Just that one line is a powerful affirmation that will anchor this entire journey. And as you write it, you may have a profound realization. From the very beginning to the very end, this story was never really about them. It was never about the secrets they kept, or the ways you were used, or betrayed, or silenced. This entire story is about you. It's about the incredible light you have kept hidden for years. It's about the heart that healed others while it was quietly bleeding. It's about a kindness that was taken for granted but was never ever extinguished. It's about an inner voice that was ignored but never ever left you. And after all of this, the only one who truly stayed, the only one who never abandoned you, was you. The only one who never left was your own resilient soul, and the only one who can truly heal you is also you. In our final moments together, we will no longer speak of them. We will speak of you, the one who remained with the light, and who is now beginning to rewrite your own destiny with the same powerful hands that once reached out in pain. Dear Sagittarius, you have walked through every layer of illusion. You have seen through the masks of what looked like love, what looked like family, what looked like care. And now, as all of those masks fall away, what remains is not bitterness. What remains is the pure, authentic, undeniable light that cannot be faked, returning home to you. This is no longer a story about neighbors or friends or those who betrayed your trust. This is the story of a magnificent soul who made space for everyone in the world except for yourself. And today, you have stepped out of that ancient pattern, not with a scream, but with the kind of powerful silence that feels like absolute freedom. You did not come to this earth to please others, Sagittarius. You came here to live in your truth. And the moment you fully commit to that, everything and everyone not meant for you will simply gracefully dissolve away. If any part of this message today has awakened something deep within you, I encourage you to write it down, to speak it aloud, to seal your soul with the light you are now reclaiming. And if you are truly ready, leave this sacred vow in the comments below as a testament to your journey. I choose to live in my truth, and anyone who does not resonate with my boundless freedom will dissolve. Thank you for having the courage to walk this path with me today. Thank you for staying through to the very end of this profound journey of remembrance. And from the very depths of my heart, may you be protected, may you be guided, and may you be fully brilliantly alive as your truest soul from this moment and forevermore.